नमोस्तुते शरणागत दीनार्थ परित्राण परायणे सर्वस्याति हरे देवी नारायणी नमोस्तुते. Now, I will tell you about the story of goddess Bhrāmarī after this shloka. So, goddess Bhrāmarī, we know about her through the Devi Mahatmya. So, in particular, her story is shared in the 13th chapter of the 10th book of Devi Mahatmya. This story begins after the death of the demon Hiranyakashipu. If you are familiar with Bhagwat Puran, or if you have watched the recent film Mahavatar Narsimha, you will know that Hiranyakashipu was a very powerful death king, and he had obtained many boons from Brahmaji. He was killed by Bhagwan Vishnu in the form of Narsimha, who is part lion and part god. Now, one of his generals was Arunasura. Arunasura and Hiranyakashipu, they did not get along very well. He did not consider his master to be a superior person, and as such there were lots of arguments between them. He did not consider his master intelligent at all, and the only reason why he maintained his job in his army was due to his ruthlessness in persecution of the devotees. Now, after Hiranyakashipu faced his death at the hands of, or should I say, claws of Narsimha, Arunasura's suspicion that his master was not intelligent were confirmed. Now that Hiranyakashipu was dead, there was a power vacuum among the asuras, and the Daitya Arunasura found his opportunity. Now all of the asuras, they found the same basic pattern in their life story. All of them turned to the same deity, Lord Brahma. So his penance to please Lord Brahma was very severe. For the first 10,000 years he lived on fruits only once in a day. Then for the next 10,000 years he started a diet of only water. He would only drink water, and that was the means of his survival. Next 10,000 years he subsisted only on air, and finally the final 10,000 years of his penance, he did not even breathe. That was his single-minded determination to getting the boon. Now, when Lord Brahma appeared before him and asked him what boon he wanted, he was well aware that there would be some or the other loophole. Vishnu, Shiva, someone else would come in a form that would be outside of the boon which he asked. His master had asked neither human nor animal. No, Vishnu ji came in a form that was neither human nor animal. Arunasura was slightly more clever. He knew that he had to ask a slightly more unique boon. So he said that I should not be killed by any being which is having more than 2 legs. Now, he knew that the only beings having more than 2 legs are the insects and the arachnids. What can they do to him? Crush them under the foot, they are finished, no threat. Now, Arunasura, he was sure of his victory over the 3 worlds, and that is exactly what he did. Like all of the Asura conquerors before him, he amassed a huge army thanks to his powers, and he conquered all of the worlds. He conquered the entire universe. His rule was a particularly cruel one compared to that of Hiranyakashipu. He demanded very excessive tributes from everyone he ruled. There was immense famine, and in order to show off his powers to that he was superior to all of the devatas, every morning he would create new stars and new celestial bodies. Their glory, their brightness was so intense that the previous day appeared like night. And this heat and light, it kept on increasing day by day. This was too much for any living being to handle, the extreme heat. There was famine, there was drought everywhere. And whosoever challenged him, whosoever spoke out against him, they were sure to be afflicted with terrible diseases. Now all of the devas, they were extremely frightened. So they took Sharan of Adi Parashakti, Mahakali. Mahakali advised that the devatas should take refuge of Lord Vishnu for the time being while she fights Arunasur. Arunasur, he one day heard a strange buzzing sound, early in the morning. He woke up with a start and he ordered his generals to find out the source of this strange sound. All of the demons, they rushed towards the sound. They heard it in all four directions. So finally, moving towards the east, they found an incredibly beautiful woman of golden complexion, 2 hands, seated in Padmasana meditating. Apparently, that sound was coming from a beehive that was situated in the tree next to her. So when the demons described the beauty of this lady to Arunasur, he was overcome with desire and wanted her as his wife. Little did he know that this woman was none other than Adi Parashakti Mahakali herself. So he sent the generals once again, drag her here to me and she will be forced into marriage. Now, the moment they touched her, they caught hold of her feet, they could not even move her, and when they felt the touch of her skin, they recoiled back in pain and died after a few seconds. The pain was so intense. The moment they touched her toes, they felt the sting of 10 million scorpions at once. One by one, all of his most trusted confidants perished at the feet of the Devi. When he heard this news from the messengers, Analasur was furious and he knew that this woman was some goddess who was sent to kill him. But his arrogance got the better of him. Rather than taking this as a sign of his impending doom and reforming and changing his ways for the better and submitting to the goddess, his arrogance was too much. After all, she still has 2 feet. How will she be able to kill him, he thought. He was done for. So he himself came with a huge army. He was thinking that I am going to intimidate this goddess into submitting. His entire army of tens of millions of daityas, each with innumerable lesser demons, came to her. Bhrāmarī Mata opened her eyes and she merely moved her eyebrows upward in surprise. Not even in surprise, you could say, just in mock pity, you could say. The moment she did this, with that simple gesture, innumerable bees started buzzing out of the beehive. Those of you who know a little Sanskrit will know that Bhramar is a synonym for Hindi Bhramar or black bee. Bhrāmarī was the goddess of all the black bees and honeybees. And in extremely large numbers, they started biting, they started stinging all of the daityas. and the pain that they felt from these was too much for them to handle. With the holy syllable dedicated to her Brahm, the goddess awoke immense spiders of the underworld. This formed her second army. Each of them was capable of swallowing an entire mountain range in their mouths, and all of them devoured the armies of the demons one by one. And then her third army, the silk moths. These were no ordinary silk moths that we humans tame and use for textiles. There are divine, there are heavenly, there are celestial silk moths as well. And they are as huge as elephants. Each of them ate 3,000 demons. And that was the moment that Arunasur knew that he was cooked. But still his arrogance prevented him from realizing the error of his ways or surrendering. He charged at the goddess and he tried to break her skull open with his mace. But the moment that he did so, she extended forward one of her hands and an enormous bee buzzed out of it from the light that came from her palm, and it stung Amalasur right on the chest. Arunasur was finished. That was the end of his life. So this is the story of how Bhrāmarī overcame Arunasur. Now, Bhrāmarī Mata, she is relatively unknown. Why is this so? So there are many other goddesses who are having some form of protection. They are offering some kind of protection or material benefit. So worship of Lakshmi will gain wealth. Worship of Saraswati will give you knowledge. Mansa will give you protection from snakes. But Bhrāmarī, देखिए, her worship was not really gaining traction after Kali Yuga started. Because people, they saw the insects as too small of a thing to be seeking protection from, forgetting that the mosquito, it brings so much pain through the diseases it causes. And second of all, Bhrāmarī is a Moksha Pradayini Devi primarily. She is to be worshipped first and foremost and only for salvation. So if any of you decide to become sadhaks in the future, let me tell you about how to appease her. So you have to follow all of the yam and niyam that are prescribed by Patanjali. These are essential for pleasing any deity, following the moral rules. And second, her mantra is very simple. It does not consist of any long shlokas or anything. It is simple, but it is incredibly potent and should only be chanted regularly under the guidance of a proper guru. So this syllable is, as I have stated earlier, Bhram. Chanting it 108 times every day under the Diksha of a guru will give you tremendous merit, and it will definitely grant you bhakti bhav. You will be able to cultivate enough merit, enough punya to attain salvation. Jai Bhrāmarī Mata, Jai Ma Durga.